would think the worst. Dead animals in the street, I was feeling them through the water on me. It was like I was taking a bath in all of this mishap, misery, pain, fear, anxiety, and sadness. Hello, my name is Alaska and I have OCD. Tonight we are going to talk about my magical thinking OCD. We are almost finished with a video about my scrupulosity OCD. If you haven't watched it yet, go and check it. I'm gonna break down my experience for you and I'm gonna try to make it as simple and as understandable as I can. But before we dive in, let's start with the definition. First of all, have you ever heard of these people with OCD repeating words or numbers to protect themselves and their loved ones? It might seem totally stupid, but the thing is, I want to show you how someone can reach this point, like I did. Let's say that I want to go to the bathroom for whatever reason, and there is a mirror, as was a lot of times the case with me. When I'm washing my hands, the mirror is right in front of me. I don't know who created this rule in my head, but I started to believe that when I'm in front of a mirror, I shouldn't think negative things, because they could affect me. So when I'm looking myself on the mirror, I try to not think cursed words like ugly, but they are intrusive. Of course, since I believe that words and thoughts in front of a mirror can actually affect me, now I feel anxious and I don't know how to manage this anxiety, so I had to correct it. What I've described so far is an obsession, the O in OCD, and these obsessions are causing me anxiety. But the anxiety is so overwhelming and I need somehow to relieve it. So I would wash my hands again, look myself on the mirror and think, beautiful. My attempt to correct the moment or the pattern of thoughts is called a compulsion, the C in OCD. But before we dive in, let's start with the definition. Magical thinking OCD is a subtype of OCD characterized by intrusive thoughts and compulsive behaviors driven by superstitious or irrational beliefs. People with this subtype might feel an intense sense of responsibility, believing that failing to perform certain actions could harm themselves or others. The cycle of intrusive thoughts and compulsions stems from a need to prevent these imagined consequences. What I've described so far is an obsession, the O in OCD, and these obsessions are causing me anxiety. But the anxiety is quite overwhelming and somehow I need to relieve it. So I would wash my hands again, look myself at the mirror and think, beautiful. My attempt to correct this pattern of thoughts or the moment is a compulsion, the C in OCD. It's something that your mind invents to temporarily relieve the anxiety, but only for a brief moment. At the same time, these compulsions, which briefly reduce the anxiety, are secretly reinforcing the obsessions and giving you more anxiety afterward. And this vicious cycle makes it a disorder. So I would do that, but in front of the mirror my OCD gets very triggered and I have a lot of intrusive thoughts. I would try to think beautiful, but my pattern of thoughts would more likely to be something like beautiful, ugly, pig, shit, Satan, Hitler, Judah. I felt so bad and so anxious because back then I believed that all of these words were affecting me and that something bad would happen to me. So I would perform my compulsion, I would wash my hands again, look myself at the mirror and think beautiful, cat, diamond, Christ, and try to think these words very fast before having an intrusive thought, then quickly leave the bathroom. But the intrusive thoughts would always disrupt my pattern of thoughts and I would have to do it all over again and again and again. And imagine the mirror is one of my many magical thinking obsessions.
Hi there, it's Autumn.
This channel is new and creating this content takes courage and bravery.
It means a lot to us if you subscribe to the Alternative OCD Room.
Wishing you all the best and bless you.
For example, my mind, not me, but my mind, had this rule. It was something like, when you are taking a bath, you shouldn't have negative thoughts the first seconds that the water touches you. I would think the worst. Dead animals in the street. In Greece it's quite common. I love animals, so as you understand now, what I had to see my mind will show me. Also I would think words like ugly pig, and a mixture of all of these negative thoughts, I was feeling them running through the water on me. It was like I was taking a bath in all of this mishap, misery, pain, fear, anxiety, and sadness. But for some reason my mind believes that everything resets at 12 a.m. So to change the negative outcome of this negatively charged water touching me, I had to take a bath the next day with a positive pattern of thoughts. Of course, if I failed to take a bath with positive pattern of thoughts, that day I wouldn't go out, wouldn't start any project, and if I had started something that morning, whether it was some project or whatever, now it was burned. Next, my day could be ruined by so-called cursed words. Cursed words include curse, the word itself, bad luck, ugly, or the name of someone who was terrible. Another example. We had a conversation for some reason in the car about Soviet Union and about the World War II, and somebody mentioned Hitler. Meanwhile, just hours ago, I was taking exams for my proficiency. Now my mood was completely fucked. My beloved family didn't know why, but I believed that the word Hitler would somehow affect my proficiency exam results or the certificate. In general, whatever makes you happy, in this case anticipating for the results of my proficiency, OCD will try to poison if you let it. So if someone would mention these cursed words, I wouldn't do anything until 12 a.m. Whatever I was doing the day that Hitler was mentioned, now it felt cursed and I felt like I had to leave it behind. If someone did or said something impure, like mentioning Hitler, it felt as though this impure or cursed word or thought had spilled all over the things that I liked that day. Things that I did, bought, enjoyed, or wore. My happiness felt cut off. The clothes that I was wearing would be seen now as cursed because the word Hitler had spilled onto me. Whatever ideas I had that day, I wouldn't act on them because they would be tainted. Since I was impure, if I would act on this idea, they would be impure too. Of course, in my surroundings, nobody talks about negative things in a positive way, but it doesn't matter. Just one word can poison your happiness when you have this OCD subtype. I wouldn't be able to do anything that same day, neither take a bath nor go outside, etc. I would just stay in bed feeling sad and anxious. My shit would feel cursed because this disorder bombards you with a billion of intrusive thoughts. After 12 a.m. it felt like I could try again to be pure, but every day would be ruined. No matter what I would try to do, no matter how many compulsions I would perform, at the end I would lose. It can seem like a mess, but there is actually a pattern to it. My OCD is surprisingly structured. It traps you, it sets these obsessive rules, and you are anxious all day and night, trying not to fuck up. It is about not fucking up in front of the mirror while taking a bath and being careful not to say or hear cursed words, among other things. You make plans only if your day and mind are pure. If not, the trip that you are planning, the new clothes that you bought today, and everything else will become cursed permanently. Until 12 a.m, whatever you do, it's gonna be cursed. I could have clothes that I really like and I wouldn't wear them because I was afraid that it could make me unlucky or ugly. Essentially, I couldn't be happy. But look guys, I got my proficiency, nothing has been destroyed or anything like that, and I'm not feeling so anxious anymore. I mean, I still have intrusive thoughts and of course I still suffer from OCD, but it just isn't what it was. And I said I still experience intrusive thoughts, but less, and they aren't causing me so much anxiety anymore. Nor I'm doing nonsensical things in front of the mirror. But I'm telling you, I was consuming content online, here in YouTube. I was watching a doctor
and they would snap them.
and anyways, he asked what could be worse than this.
There's freedom in that.
Why you don't risk it. He said you should stop the compulsions, but it is like a rubber band. Initially, if you pull, meaning if you stop all the compulsions, you will meet resistance. But if you pull for long enough, meaning stop performing compulsions for long enough, the rubber band eventually will break. And by break, I don't know if he means you will stop experiencing intrusive thoughts, or if he means that your symptoms will be way more manageable and you will be experiencing way less anxiety society overall. I know it can severely damage people. It can make decent people question themselves, who they really are. What I mean by that is, if people haven't been diagnosed with OCD and they do have it, then they don't know what is really happening. They might think that they are perverts or evil and they might fall into depression. We do this because we believe that mental illness should be something cool to discuss, not pretending that you have it, and be educated. So people who are suffering to be able to open up in a society that is understanding. And I know that you aren't a Satanist, a fascist, a sorcerer, or straight up insane. So let's make it something cool to talk about and educate ourselves. It is like the example I gave to my wife to explain her magical thinking OCD. If somebody told you that they've painted their house black because white is causing them anxiety, you would assume immediately that they are insane, that they are crazy. But if you had a very much real error inside your brain and now white walls are reflecting on you anxiety, it might not be rational, but the anxiety pretty much feels very real. And you would paint the white walls black. But look, you reinforced your brain's worries. If you are taking real life actions, the problem must be real. And now the next obsession will cause more anxiety. And you will end up painting the whole building black. And eventually the whole city. Now red feels right, so you have to repaint everything red. Depending on the levels of anxiety, the stupidity knows no boundaries.
So guys, if you think that you may be suffering from magical thinking OCD, we advise you to seek professional help. But very fast, we're gonna mention some symptoms of magical thinking. Common obsessions in magical thinking OCD include preoccupation with determining a link between unrelated events, beliefs that their actions control a situation or event, believing that lucky or unlucky numbers can cause or prevent bad things from happening, believing that thoughts or words can cause harm to someone.
Totally, I think I have every single one of them, like really. And what are some common compulsions?
Mentally reviewing thoughts and actions to make sure nothing was done that could have caused harm. Seeking reassurance from others to make sure that nothing bad has happened. Avoiding people, places, and things because they are believed to bring bad luck. Engaging in compulsions or rituals a specific number of times to prevent an undesirable outcome. It sounds totally fucked up.
It sounds totally fucked up and it is totally fucked up.
And it is totally irrational.
You aren't questioning these thoughts, you are just taking it as it is, because what really is happening here is you just feel anxiety. Doing this gives me anxiety for some reason, so let's avoid it. Anyways. We are your two favorite hippies, and we thank you and we love you and bless you and positive energy to you, to your loved ones. See you.
Bye.
Peace.
Love you all.